Welcome. Dr. Chooks explains academic research writings, entrepreneurship and innovations, cooperative business enterprises, creativity and marketing, and topical academic subjects. Listen as Dr. Chooks explains today's concepts.
Hello everyone, welcome to our Entrepreneurship and Innovation series. Today we'll be discussing business opportunity evaluation. This is one of the topical areas in this series. So we will be talking about concept of new venture ideas, business opportunity, sources of business ideas, methods of generating new business ideas. Okay, let's go straight to it. Now, when we talk about an idea is a thought or suggestion as to a possible course of action. All right, so when you have any possible course of action that is generated from your thoughts or from suggestion from somewhere, we refer such thought of action, course of action as an idea. Now, we also have venture. Venture ideas refer to a possible business described in functional terms that an individual or potential entrepreneur sees or pictures himself or herself establishing in the near future to create wealth by addressing the needs and satisfaction of a target market segment at a profit. The key word there is creating wealth by addressing the needs and satisfaction of a target market segment at a profit. So when you have an idea that can do these key things, you can refer to that as a venture idea. Now, a business idea can be turned into a large number of alternative business concepts. You can just have an idea, and that idea can bring you into several business concepts at that. So no business is born out of nowhere. There must be a thought process, suggestion, idea behind every business idea. Now, usually there must be a gap found to exist before a new venture idea comes to bear. And that gap, when we describe it, it is from the supply side and the demand side of every transaction. The supply of one satisfying goods and services provides a gap for new venture ideas, and the need of the average consumer, which gives rise to a new venture or a business opportunity, is also what brings about new venture ideas. Once there's a supply deficit, and when there's a demand, appropriate demand in existence, then there's a new venture idea in the offing. Now, such ideas could be functional and symbolic. When we say such ideas is functional, what do we really mean by that? We say such ideas can be functional or symbolic. When we say such ideas is functional, what do we mean? It is functional when it is intended to solve basic problems or seen as basic or fundamental things of life that human beings use to survive. So when we say such needs, consumer needs is functional, it simply means that such needs solving such needs can be described as functional. It simply means that it is functional. In solving that need is functional when such move is intended to solve basic problems. All right, it's trying to solve the basic fundamental things of life for human beings to survive. We say such move is functional. Then when we say such need, when we describe such needs to be symbolic, we say needs become a want and therefore symbolic when such need is shaped by a person's culture, social or economic circumstances. All right, so that is it. That is it for that in new venture ideas. Now let's go straight to business opportunities. Opportunities, if taken in its literary or common sense form, means a situation that offers a person the chance to easily do something. So business opportunity means a set of favorable circumstances which offers an entrepreneur the easy chance to starting a new venture. We say business opportunity can also be described as an exploitable set of circumstances which outcomes one is not even sure of, or which requires commitment of resources that involves exposure to risk. So this is a business opportunity for you. It can expose you to risk. All right. Now, what are the uniqueness of business opportunities? What are the uniqueness of a business opportunities? There are four key uniqueness of business opportunities. The first is, one, business opportunity requires commitment. Two, it requires resources. Three, it requires exposure, and it is taking off risk. Now, let's explain them a bit so you get the point. When we say business opportunity requires commitment, what do we mean? It just simply means that it requires setting aside funds that will be used to purchase things that will be needed for production by the business venture, resources that you keep aside for the running of the business, and that requires commitment for this to happen, and even dedication and being committed to the business day-to-day activities. These are all what we put together, and we say every business opportunity has to be unique in that it requires commitment. Number two is that it requires resources. Of course, every business requires resources. Economic factors like capital, land, and labor are required to undertake and accomplish the desired ventures one wants to go into profitably. And these are resources that requires a lot of them, and on one side, and requires management of these resources on another side, as well as expertise to run the organization, energy, time, and so on. All these are resources of different types that organization or business organization or business opportunities that an organization has to take advantage of requires. So we say it requires resources. Now, a unique business opportunity requires exposure. There are unprotected conditions that opens up to danger, opens the organization to danger. So business opportunities always have that uniqueness of being unprotected conditions that open up to danger, damage, and risk of suffering a particular loss or various degree of loss as it may be. So every business or unique business opportunities requires exposure, and such exposure comes with risk, and that is what we call the last one. It's taking of risk. Every opportunity simply means taking of risk. This is the probability. Risk simply means the probability of injury, loss, damage, liability, or any other negative occurrences that is caused by external or internal weaknesses that could be avoided through anticipatory actions. So that is risk for you. Every business opportunity comes with its own level of risk. Now let's jump straight to the sources of business ideas. We have a lot of sources, so let's run through them quickly. The first is looking inwards. When we say looking inward, we simply mean that the entrepreneur, the businessman, the person that's going into the business must first look inwards. There's some ideas you have, so some things that have happened to you before that are within your mind, you've been considering it. So just take your time and look inwards. Looking inward means start by looking for ideas from yourself. All right. I know of someone that has a child that is physically challenged and wanted to set up something and decided to start a foundation to deal with people that have such challenges. So that opportunity to serve was coming from inside personal experience. Then number two is social events. Social events can be a source of business ideas. Social events, trends, societal happenings, through conscious and regular watching of news with the intent to discover new business ideas can also help in this regard. Then number three is mass media. Mass media, the television, the cable news, magazines, radio, newspapers, internet sites, social media, WhatsApp status, and so on and so forth are wonderful sources of good business ideas. Then we have number four, which is trade fairs, exhibitions, and expos. Businesses, both private and government, often conduct what we refer to as trade fairs and expos and exhibitions to showcase products and services Such can also be a good source of business ideas. Then we have number 5, which is customer complaints. If you have a business, existing business, and such existing business, customers sending their feedbacks, you get customers calling, bringing in reviews on your product. Such reviews and feedback can be an excellent source of business ideas. For example, you have a business, probably you sell drinks and you have a sit out, and then your customers every evening when they come to buy your drinks, they keep telling you some feedback. Say your drink is good, your sit out is wonderful, but why can't you just organize someone to wash our cars so that as we are living here, our cars are very clean? So from these feedbacks, all of a sudden, the idea of setting up a car wash just by the side becomes very, very real to you from the customer feedback and complaints. So that is another one. So with the next one, number 6 is brainstorming. And then number 7 is personal interests and experience. So you can have a personal interest and experience. Like some people just have interest. They work in a ministry and they push papers from morning to night, but they are just interested in They're just interested in agriculture, and that is beautiful. So you can pursue your personal interest as a business idea or experience. Okay, and then we have follow the leaders. When we say follow the leaders, what do we mean by that? This approach refers to the pursuit of an incremental opportunity. That is, you are doing a business, you want to increase incremental opportunity by imitating what another company is doing with some modifications to what they do. So you could see a product, you could see a service, you could see a process another company is carrying out, and you modify them a bit, and that means you're following the leaders. Then we have consumer and environmental or environment surveillance. When we say that, what do we mean? You can simply just carry out a survey of the consumers and ask them clearly, what do you want? And their responses could be a great source of business ideas. Then we have existing product. A lot of existing products are there. A lot of existing services are there. And such product and services, from what they do, their functionalities can give you an idea on a new business idea from them. And then we have marketing distribution channel members. Those that carry out marketing distribution always get feedbacks, and they can be a source of business ideas. Then we have research and development. Of course, research is always trying to bring modifications, changes, improvement of how things work. If peradventure, let's say the government decides that of course that's what happens in our neighborhood these days, indiscriminate disposals of waste has been frowned at by the government, and the government now realizes that once you bag your waste, it will you reduce diseases by, let's say for example, by 20%. And people realize that is a very good way of reducing the rate of illnesses. Such findings, such research can trigger the business of bagging of waste, the process of disposal of waste, and that is another new form of business. Okay, then we also have government policy. Just like the government makes a policy that every single person, every single student that is writing it, or every single student in Nigeria must do a CBT, that's a computer-based test. And such computer-based test will require you to learn before the test through some simulation programs, and then come for the test and you use a computer. Such policy simply just triggered business of the simulation test in centers where they do training, as well as sales of computer to government functionaries or certified JAM accredited centers. And that is another business opportunity out of the policy. Then we also have luck. People can, out of luck, come into some business ideas. And like I remember when someone asked me to help him get information from a library I was very, very close to. While I was searching for that information, I just stumbled upon a unique document on how to set up a palm plantation. I studied that document, and the thing became so real to me, and from that document I was able to set up a palm plantation some years ago, and that business is doing well. And then family and friends. can be a great source of business ideas. Lastly, let's talk about the methods of generating new business ideas. We can start by brainstorming, and this involves assembling people in a brainstorming session, recognizing that the new ideas are often a mixture of several ideas, and such several ideas may be old, but when we mix them together we get something new. So some of those old ideas can actually be a source of new business idea when we mix them together. That's from brainstorming. Then number 2 is attribute listing. What do we mean by attribute listing? This method calls for first listing the major attributes of an existing product and then modifying each attribute in the search. What is the essence of modifying them? In a search for an improved product. So you take an old product, you list out its attributes, then you modify it and say, okay, with this modification, if we create another product now, you see this product will be superior to this existing one. And that is a source or a method of generating new business idea. And of course, to do this, you could generate or gather a focal group of people and ask them to propose attribute modification to improve a particular product performance or appeal by putting questions such as how can we adapt this product, how can we magnify this product, how can we substitute part of this product, how can we rearrange this product. Just ask them several questions like this, and the feedback will help you pick out the attributes of such product that needs modification, from which a new business idea or new product can be generated. So that's one method. Now number 3 method there is forced relationship. Here several objects are listed and each of the objects is considered in relation to every other object, so you get to relate them together, and with that you can generate new business ideas. Then number 4 is morphological analysis. When you hear morphological analysis, you may ask, what does that mean? Morphology means structure. This method calls for identifying the structural dimensions of a problem and examining the relationship or relationships among them. So you broke down the problem into structures, into bits, and then that tries to conceive a combination of these structural dimensions you've just strayed to discover a new product therein. That is another method. Then we have number 5, which is need and problem identification. Unlike the other methods or points that we just highlighted previously, this method starts with consumers who are asked about their needs. They are asked about their needs, problems, and their ideas about them. So you get your consumers, you stage them and say, okay, what about the need you have in this aspect? What are the problems you are getting from this place? And what do you conceive as your own idea of solving it? So on another setting, you could just say, you could just arrange the consumers and give them a list of problems. You just give them a list of paper with a lot of problems on it, and then you ask them a simple question. Now look at these questions, these problems on this paper, and then you tell them that what or which product comes to your mind in terms of solving problem 1, problem 2, problem 3, problem 4, problem 5, so on and so forth. So as they provide a response to this, it gives you an idea of what they require to solve the problems they need or the ones you've provided, and a new business idea could come from that. Okay, thank you very much for listening. That's about it for today. We will continue from here later.
Hey, have you seen my other videos? Do well to check it out. Thank you.